Hi Cubs, this is Miss Candleberry here, and I am going to teach you the best I can to how to make lucky stars. Now they're very tricky. I've been making them for a really long time, but you can see, and this is just some of the ones. Even I have a really hard time with it as someone who's had a lot of practice. Like these are just some of the ones that I have messed up. Now, usually when I mess up, it's when I try to make the little points of the star. But I wanted to show you this so that you could see. It's hard to see with some of these, but everybody makes mistakes. Not everybody, like this one, I couldn't even. It went in at the very beginning. So even when you try your best and you really know what you're doing with these things, sometimes things don't go as well as you want them to. And they are very tricky. And this is after years of practice. So it is going to be hard. And if you're interested, you're going to have to show perseverance because like I said, it's tricky. But once you know how to do it, you really get the hang of it. Now, when I was a kid, a friend of mine taught me how to make lucky stars. And she just told me they were for luck, for wishes. Now, some people, where they originated from, people believe that the number of stars you have can mean different things about how you care about somebody or if you love somebody. It can mean different things. But I have made so many for you guys that basically I made an even amount. I made an even 100 because at 100 you get to have your lucky stars be worth a wish. So I made hundreds, and then I split the hundreds between you guys so that all of your lucky stars are, you can imagine, worth a wish. All right, now I suggest there's 3 kinds of lucky star paper in your little kit. It was bought a while ago, so it's not like it just came from China. It was bought like over a year ago. Okay, so you are safe. There's this kind of paper that's kind of see-through-y. That's called vellum. That's kind of paper. There's this glitter paper that's thick, thick, thick. And then there's this paper, like the regular other colored paper. Some of it is just like regular, almost feels like really thin construction paper. And you have a lot of colors in there. But I think you should start probably while you're beginning with this like brownish color or a black color or a neutral. The ones that aren't super colorful, because that way you get used to it. So again, you have instructions in your kit, but this is going to give you like a video instruction. So you kind of have to make a knot, but when you make these, you don't pull really hard. Okay? So the way I like to do it is and you want to try to get your knot at one end, okay? So the way I like to do it is I like to kind of loop, like I'm got like a ribbon kind of loop upside down. So I hold it like this. All right. Ooh, it's hard to get this angle from this way. And then what I like to do is I like to take this other end and put it in the middle of the hole so it's going down. Now that's just what's easy for me. You could kind of see right here, it's kind of, if I pull, it looks a little bit like a knot. It's a paper, so you got to be careful. They're very delicate. And what I do, I've done this a long time, is I hold this little flap and then I turn it a little and I pinch on to this other part. That way I can tighten it. So I hold this here and I hold this here. I turn and then I pull this one. So again, I turn and I hold this part and then I pull this. And when you pull, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways, the way that I perfected it this way, you want to make sure, you can't really see it, that this little point is together. You can see how right here, I'm not quite together. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a little gap. You want to try to make that together. And you want to make right here to be big enough for your paper, if you could see. And then right here, you want to make kind of big enough for your paper, not super big. And then what you're going to do is you're going to flip it over and you're going to take this little end and you're going to fold it back so it's even with this side. And then you're going to just kind of tuck it in the best you can to there. Now, mine is not perfect. You can see it's not completely even with the side, but that's okay for now. All right, then I'm going to flip it back over. Whoops. In my left hand, because I'm right-handed, I hold this side. And then with this hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this piece down so that it's even with this side right here. So I've folded it, it's even. And I also want it to be even with this top part right here. You can see here's this point. I want to kind of bring it to this point. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it back so that it matches now this side. So see, I folded it to match this side, but I'm going to turn it. And when I do that, now it looks kind of like this. And when it does that, you want to, oops, it's not perfect. See, I had to turn it back over. Make sure that this side is even with the side. You're making like a pentagon. You're basically going to wrap this paper enough times to make a pentagon, and a very exact pentagon. So then you're going to see how here's my edge. I'm going to just flip it over, and I'm going to fold this to match that edge. And when I do that, the paper goes here, and then I'm going to turn it over again, and I'm going to fold it to match that edge. And look, it went, now I've got it matched at this edge. And I'm going to fold it again. Now I've got enough, so when I do it, I just kind of fold it back and then I turn it because I've done it so many times. So again, you can turn it, and you're going to see here's the edge. You're going to fold it to match the edge. And when you do that, it's going to naturally go close to the side, one of the other sides of the pentagon. Okay, oops. So you want to make it tight, but you don't want to pull it too hard. Okay, and I'm going to continue to do that. Notice that I make sure that this edge matches this side, and that right here it kind of lines up with the point. Now you'll get to about here and you'll have this little piece. Now sometimes your piece will be a little bit longer. This piece is a little too short to fold in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my thumb here and tear it a little to tear off that extra amount. You can use your scissors. And then I'm going to take this end. Let's see if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. And I'm going to slide it in over here and kind of, and it'll look like that when it's done. It takes a lot of time. You might want to watch the video a couple of times, the point I've shown you. I'm going to show you really quick. Basically, it's the same way to fold it, okay? But I'm going to leave this here for the last step. All right, so I'm going to now fold. Again, I say to practice with these neutrals. Once you get done with the, and you feel like you can do the neutral kind of well, and you can fold it, then after you can fold well, then you might want to go to one of these fancier papers. But I'm just going to use this brown paper. So I showed you how I started it before, how I started at one end and then I pull it, and how I pinch and pull. But when I first started, I didn't do that. I just kind of did this, and I just pulled this side, and I kept kind of tugging each side a little bit, like there's that side, there's that side. I kind of tugged them very carefully, very gently, so it matched up right here. And then I had a longer piece on this side, because again, you want them to be as close to the end as you can get it. So when I do this, when I fold this piece back, you can see it's too long. Again, I'm just going to tear it a little bit, and then I'm going to fold it back. And then you do the same thing as you did with this one. You fold it around. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to make sure that my fold is even here. I'm going to make a fold. And then I'm going to take this side and make it even with the side of the pentagon. And there's one. And I'm going to do this the regular way that I do it. I'm going to try to do it kind of slow. I'm going to fold and turn. I'm going to fold like here and turn. I'm going to fold, oops, and turn, fold and turn. This is what I like to do if I'm watching TV sometimes. I just make a whole bunch of the little lucky stars while I'm watching TV. All right, and so this piece is like long enough where I don't have to trim it. I can just tuck it. Ooh, I want you to see where I'm tucking it. You could kind of see, ooh, maybe, like, see there's like a little line right here. Let me see if I turn on the light, if it'll work. Oh, you could kind of see it better now. So there's this little line right here. It's a little flap kind of horizontal. It's like right here. I'm going to take this piece, and then I'm going to kind of, I got to bend it a little, but you don't want to bend it too much. You might need your parent help at the beginning. And I'm going to tuck it in there. Okay? Now I've got two pentagons. Now, to me, as somebody who's done all this folding a lot, once you get used to the folding, that's not the tricky part. The folding is tricky only at the beginning. But then when you get used to it, The tricky part is really the pushing in of the edges. So I'm going to show you that in a second. If you have a hard time starting it, I would suggest maybe you ask an older sibling or your parent for help to start making that beginning part, this part right here where it's the knot. And if your parent starts it for you like this, so maybe your parent you say, Mom, I'm having a hard time. So maybe at the beginning, to get used to it, your parent might start this part, and then you can do all the folding. Then you can practice the folding, and then when you get good at the folding, you can go back to the knot part if you so choose. Now again, Miss Candleberry has had a lot of practice. And some of your parents might have made these before, and they might have a lot of practice. You never know. So I'm going to continue. These ones are supposed to glow in the dark. I don't think they actually glow in the dark. Anyway, and then I'm going to, there you go, fold it in there. Perfect. All right, so now I've got my things. Now this is the part that I think is tricky. With this hand, I'm going to kind of hold this steady, like this. And then I'm going to take, I'm going to take my fingernails, and I'm going to try to put one fingernail here in the middle, and one fingernail here in the middle, and then I'm going to kind of pinch together. All right, and then I'm going to turn it so this fingernail is here, and then I'm going to pinch again. And I'm going to turn it and pinch again, and then I'm going to turn it and pinch again. And when I'm finished, I have a little star, and I sometimes like to go back and push the star edges to make it look more like a star. So there's my star. Sometimes, though, when I do that, I start beautifully, and I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then I'll get to a point like this, and I'll smush it in too hard, and then it'll be all funky. Like one side will look nice, but the other side won't. Or sometimes when I'm doing it, I start okay, like there, and then again, I'm holding it like this, and I smush it too hard, like this hold hand. Sometimes I accidentally smush it, and I ruin it that way. So there's lots of ways. Sometimes I do it, and the whole thing goes inside out. Like that's what kind of happened here. It didn't puff out. It just went inside. So it's kind of hard. So again, I hold it with my eye, because I'm right-handed, hold with this hand. I hold it on the two sides that I'm next to the sides that I'm doing. And then on my adjacent two sides, I'm going to put my fingernail in the middle, and then I'm going to pinch together. Ooh. And then I'm going to continue that all the way around. Again, I've had a lot of practice. This is the part that I mess up all the time. These ones is a nicer paper, but it's not as easy to do as that part. So you kind of have to press a little bit harder. Ooh. But I think this paper is easier to fold. So because it's a little thicker. So I think this paper is less easy to tear and easier to fold. This paper is the thickest paper, the glittery paper. So when you do this paper, I do want to give you a tip, which is when you do this paper, now Miss Kimber is going to go kind of fast right now so that I can give you a tip. It's going to be hard to do this part where you make it into a star. Okay? It just is going to be hard for that part. I don't know why. It's just because it's thicker. So after you're done wrapping, and the more you wrap around, you don't want to just like cut it and make them very short, because if not, it's not going to be very sturdy. So don't cut like half of your paper off because you had a hard time wrapping it. Just continue to wrap until it gets to the end. So here's my end. And I'm actually going to put it inside this little extra, the whole part this time. There we go. Okay. And so now here's my pentagon. So when I do this one, I'm not going to pinch it like this. I'm just going to try to push in this one fingernail because it's really hard to pinch it. Like it's really hard. So I kind of just, oops, did I mess it up? No, I was lucky. It's such thick paper, I was lucky. So, alrighty. And I do think it's fun that if you have a marker, especially a thin tip marker around, you can give your star a little face. And you can always give your star a face when it's still flat. It's just hard. You want to make sure you put it in the middle. If you do it like this, You want to make sure you do it while it's in the middle. This is not as good of a face as that one's got a better face. But that way, this is one of the ones I messed up on. But, you know. But you get the idea. So that is how you make a lucky star. And each lucky star is its own wish for the person who receives it. You can also say it's a sign of love because you want to give people who you care about wishes. And I wish that all of you stay happy and healthy. And I hope that you can make yourself lots of lucky stars. People have also known to make these, to thread these and turn them into, if you have a needle and thread and your mom is around, or your dad, you can always thread these and you can make them into a necklace, which is pretty cool. Some people like to keep jars of them in their rooms because they're pretty. You can hide them. You can play hide and seek, and when someone finds your lucky star, then they have a wish. So it's always up to you. It might be nice for you. Maybe you could send somebody, if you have some stamps, you could send somebody you care about some lucky stars and send them some wishes. Now, if you don't like making lucky stars, it doesn't appeal to you, you can look up something online called paper quilling, and I'm going to spell it for you, Quilling. And that is the art of turning paper, like long strips of paper like this, and you can use a tool, but you turn them like this. Miss Canterbury is not the best at it without a little tool, but you wrap it up and then you use those pieces of paper that have been wrapped to make beautiful pictures. So again, you can look up quilling if you decide lucky stars aren't for you. You can look up paper quilling and use your paper to like you glue it down and you make pretty pictures with it. All right. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Cubs, I miss you. And I just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you.